Lood, daar's baie oor Eben hierdie week, obviously sy 100ste toets. Hoe voel dit vir jou om daai oomblik met hom te deel?
Ja, ek dink dit is vir my regtig spesiaal om sy 100ste saam met hom te begin. Ons het al 'n paar toetse saam gespeel en ek dink ons het 'n goeie band gevorm oor die tyd en ja, ek dink dit is maar vir ons as 'n span is dit 'n groot game en die belangrikste vir ons is om die game te wen. Ek dink ja, vir Eben en Bongie is dit spesiale okasies, maar vir ons is die groot ding om het vir hulle nog meer spesiaal te maak is om die game te wen en om regtig 'n goeie vertoning in te sit Saterdag.
Hoe belangrik gaan daai 4 wees wat ouens soos Eben en ek seker ook jy en Bongie, maar jy weet Eben stel altyd ook 'n voordeel. Hoe belangrik gaan daai fisieke aspek wees in hierdie wedstryd?
Nee, dit gaan baie belangrik wees. Dit is belangrik in enige toetswedstryd, maar veral in die groot games is dit maar waar jy meeste van die keer die game wen of verloor. As die span wat fisiek domineer, het 'n groot kans om die game te wen en ek dink dit gaan dieselfde wees Saterdag.
Lood, I mean, just looking at the first game there, I mean, you guys obviously didn't have the greatest first half there, but that second half, chalk and cheese. What do you guys take out of that game, and how do you stop? You obviously make sure that you don't get that first half again.
Yeah, I think it's hard to control outcomes in terms of what happens. Like 2 of the tries they scored were very preventable from our side. So I think what we can control is only the intensity we start with. I think that's the big thing. We're going to try and go out there and just bring intent from the first whistle to the last, and hopefully the score will take care of itself then.
Jager spoke yesterday, learned about this having a kind of similar feel to the third test against the Lions. Is this a big match kind of feel in the camp this week? I mean, do you share those sentiments?
Yeah, no, definitely. It's for us. It's a final basically. It's 1-1. It's for the series. Series is on the line. I'm sure Wales are treating it the same way. So we're treating this week as a final. I think it's good preparation for us with big games coming this year and next year. That we get games like these where you're under pressure, where you get that final vibe throughout the week. I think yeah, it's good preparation for us if you look at the bigger picture going forward as well.
And the message this week, I mean, just in terms of work-ons and being a bit tighter, I guess obviously a very different team. But what's been the kind of message from Jager and management about what you need to do better in the third test compared to what the guys did in the second?
I think the effort in both tests were good. I think we could just be a bit more clinical, maybe execute better and have a bigger emphasis on discipline. Just be more disciplined, because in a test match, if you give away unnecessary penalties, you put yourself under pressure, especially with kickers like these. Then yeah, you get yourself under scoreboard pressure, and then you need to chase the game. So I think for us, yeah, those little small execution things, and then discipline, proving our discipline.
Look, just with regards to the discipline, we've seen that sometimes a very fine line where a player goes maybe up in the air, and then there's a matter of timing. So how do you rectify that on a training, or is it just a matter of players just exercising to see what happens on the field?
I think it's just a mindset, mindset you go into the game with, to be disciplined. Like you said, it happens quickly and it's small margins, and yeah. But for us, it's just the mindset going into the game is to be as disciplined as we can be. But yeah, it is a game of inches, and sometimes you can get it wrong. But for us, it's just that mindset going into the game.
Damian, in that first game, Shem, I know you've been sitting and waiting to answer your question.
You can ask him again, I don't mind.
In that first game, we saw some tries. In the second game, however, we didn't. It was a lot tighter. From a backline point of view, what are we looking at seeing on Saturday in terms of just activating that exciting nature that both yourself and Lucanio and obviously the back three have as well?
I think the way Lood summed it up now, I think we're getting to where we want to in the field. On the field, but it's just those little fine margins of execution and especially executing under pressure on a Saturday. I feel if we get that right, there is still all the excitement is there, all the hunger is still there. But I think maybe sometimes we can get a bit over eager and try too hard. but the effort is there. But I think if we execute the way we want to execute on Saturday, I think we will take a lot of confidence from that, and hopefully we can just build on from that as well.
Damian, is it frustrating? Don't you feel that? I mean, there's normally fewer chances in Test rugby anyway, but especially against Wales, it almost feels like for the back line, you guys are shackled a bit. Does it feel like every time you play them, there's just no space? And
Yeah.
what's it going to take
I mean,
to break those shingles?
Yeah, like Lood said about the execution and being clinical. We had a chance in the first test, and we obviously lost at line-out and they scored off it. And then Dan Big hit a nice drop kick, and I think they had scored the pressure already. And that game for myself and Lucanio and I think Alton as well. I don't know how many tackles he made, but I made 1 tackle assist in that game. So it just feels like when they had the scoreboard pressure, they were not controlling the game, but they weren't allowing us to do anything to get involved in the game. And then there would be a few knock-ons or a few silly penalties here and there. And it was a very frustrating game in the first game, because obviously I want to make tackles and you want to be involved as much as you can, but it just felt like you couldn't get into a situation because of what was going on the field.
David, we saw Faf obviously left out this week for Jaden, and obviously one of those World Cup kind of stars that you guys beat against 2019. I mean, does that kind of selection send the right message? I mean, you've got a guy like Andre Estes who's obviously injured now, but kind of pushing you for the 12 jersey. Do you think it sends the right message when the kind of stalwarts from 2019 and the Lions series have other guys in the squad that know now that they can force their way in through a good performance?
Yeah, sure. I know a lot of people in the media and stuff said last week that we play in a B team, but I think all those guys that played last week, they deserve their spot in the team. If you look at a guy like Andre, for example, the way he played in the championship, in the Premier Rugby Championship, but he was flipping exceptional. And it was lovely to watch, and I think it's very healthy for a squad to get as much competition as you can for every position. And yeah, I think it's great. I think a lot of us, I'm not saying that we are relaxed or anything, but sometimes when guys push you that haven't been in the squad before, it's very healthy for the squad, and it's very healthy for your own personal game as well to carry on improving.
If you could also just, like Lood did, just a word on Evan, you played with him a lot, what the weekend means to him, and just what his contributions to South African rugby have been over the years. Yeah,
it's been great. I've been lucky enough to play with Evan from Under-19 Currie Cup, which has been really awesome. In the first time I saw him play, we played against Ruby Castile, the Rugby Academy in Ruby Castile, and I know it was just a warm-up game, but the way I saw him running over players there and his aggression, even though it was just a pre-season game, it really, for me, it set the aura about him that he has now as a player. And just a massive congrats to him and his family. He's been exceptional for South Africa over the past 10 years, and he works very hard, and his hard work has paid off, and hopefully on Saturday, I know it's his 100th test, but we know that the team always comes first, and hopefully we can put things together on Saturday night on the field and celebrate nicely for him afterwards with a nice victory.
Lood, just in English, getting 1 cap for the Springboks is obviously a massive honour for all of you, but for Bongi 50, even 100, you've played quite a bit of time with them. Just your thoughts on achievements, being able to represent this brand or this team for such a long time?
No, it's unbelievable what those guys have achieved now. I think it's a massive honour putting on that jersey even once, and to get to do it 100 times like Evan and 50 times like Bongi just shows consistency, and just shows how hard they've worked to stay consistent and stay at the top of their game. But yeah, just want to reiterate what Damian said there. For us, there's a bigger picture. We as a team need to win a game on Saturday to make it special for those guys. So that's our aim at the moment. We're just focusing on putting on a good performance and beating Wales on Saturday.
You've been in the Springbok team quite a while now. You've seen the worst of times. I mean, you've seen the Japan, and you've seen things after that as well, and you've seen the best of times, 2019 and all that. Where does this level of pressure this week for this game stand in terms of that?
Yeah, it's a hard question. It's a good question, because it's always pressure when you play for the Boks. especially at home in front of our crowd. And like I said to other guys on that, the first test at Loftus with the crowd back and the people singing, I was almost more emotional than before the World Cup final. So it's hard to say where it ranks. Every single game when you get to put on that jersey, and especially play in front of your own crowd, is massive. And there's good that comes with it and bad that comes with it. The honour that comes with it is the good thing, and the pressure that comes with it is a bad thing. Depends on how you deal with it. So I think we're a team that we've had to learn to deal with pressure, because we've played World Cup finals before, British and Irish Lions, deciders and games like that, and hopefully that would put us in good stead for this weekend's game.
Just safe to say that, I mean, it's bad enough, I suppose, losing one test against Wales. You don't want to become a team that loses the first series against Wales.
No, obviously not.
Lood, just on the threat of their lineup, I know there was on both test matches the lineups were not perfect both sides. Just on your thoughts on the threats that they pose and what to expect on Saturday.
Yeah, I think they've done well. They've had good plans. They've got some good line-out forwards in Beard and Rowlands. So I think it's obviously going to be a big battle. Set piece is always massive in Test rugby, line-out and scrum. So we've tried to improve every single week, and I'm sure they're working on things as well. So it's going to be a big battle at line-out time, maul time, and scrum time, as it always is, and we need to be good there and efficient there to have a good test match.
I mean, the junior box team up in Europe, in Italy, have you guys been following sort of their progress and just your thoughts on sort of how they've gone, having gone undefeated there?
Yeah, it was good. I watched the game last night actually, and they played with good intensity. Yeah, it was lovely to watch. I thought the level of skill was very high as well. The way they executed things was very good, and it was just very exciting to watch. I know they played Wales, so they've set the tone for this week, I reckon, and hopefully we can follow suit on the weekend.
So still not following suit, number 12, so Levin Hudsenberg, your position,
Yeah.
he scored 2 tries, and I think it was outstanding, the whole tournament. Just your thoughts on him?
No, I think it's exceptional. He obviously had a good varsity cup as well. I think he was one of the stand-up players, not just for UCT, but throughout the whole varsity cup. And like I said earlier about competition, it's lovely to see youngsters at that age. I think he's only 18 or 19 now, but sticking his hand up and playing rugby the way he's playing. So it's great for South African rugby. It's great for him as well, and hopefully he can carry on progressing and becoming a better player.
Damian, you mentioned earlier something really interesting, that they weren't controlling the game, but it was kind of difficult for you guys to also get into it. They were talking openly that they tried to niggle a little bit. They tried to take you out of your comfort zones, etc.
Yeah.
Did you experience it that way? And is that something that kind of brought you guys maybe, disrupted your rhythm? And if so, how will you deal with it?
I think we handled it well in the first test. Wales, I think they don't get enough credit. I think they're a great team. I mean, their backline, they have a lot of caps, a lot of experienced players, they've got big players, and they're smart rugby players, so they obviously know what they're doing on the field. It's just, if we have a bad reaction to it, it can get into your game, but obviously we know as well what they bring to the field, and they've been playing rugby for a long time. A lot of them have been playing together for a long time as well, so I know they'll always try something different and try and get us off task of what we want to achieve, but sometimes in games you do get a bit more frustrated than others, but I thought we handled it well in the first test, and I obviously didn't play the second test, but it looked like we handled it very well. I know we lost in the last few minutes, but just one of those things.
Lood, wat maak van Wallis, kom is dit so naby tussen die Bokke en Wallis? Wat maak dit vir julle en veral moeilik dat dit so tight is?
Ek dink die tipe styl wat hulle speel is 'n baie, nie sê konservatiewe styl nie, maar hulle speel 'n baie goeie, kan ek sê, hulle het 'n baie goeie kicking game. Hulle forwards is goed, skram en lyn staan. Hulle verdedig goed. So 'n span soos dit sal altyd 'n moeilike span wees om te wen. So dit is nog altyd vir ons hulle is nog altyd 'n tawwe span vir ons om teen te speel. So ek dink mense soos Damian sê, ek dink hulle kry altyd genoeg krediet vir wat 'n goeie span hulle is en hulle het baie ervaring voor en agter. So dit gaan weer eens hierdie naweek 'n groot fisiese battle wees en ja, hopelik kan ons hom deurtrek.
Cool. Thanks, guys.